What is up, fellow Finn fans? This here is Matt Ferrara. I am one half of the Ice the Kicker podcast, brought to you by capsON Sports. This here is a Miami Dolphins edition of Matt's Mocks, and I will be doing a full 7-round mock draft for the Miami Dolphins, or shall I say, for our Miami Dolphins. As you can see here, very big Dolphin fan, got my two-a-time shirt. So let's get right into it right now. Trevor Lawrence, here's Zach Wilson. Mac Jones going third. Again, obviously a possibility here. So here we have our first trade offer. So we have Carolina here trying to trade up. Now, would that happen anymore? No, because they just got Sam Darnold. Another one here is the Broncos. Again, could they trade up? Yeah, maybe, but they really probably wouldn't have to anymore because you're not going to need to trade up over Carolina because they have their quarterback now. I know Detroit could get a quarterback, but probably not going to happen. So this is a situation where we see Jamar Chase, who a lot of guys have as wide receiver one off the board here, and Kyle Pitts has kind of fallen into the hearts of many Miami Dolphins fans. Now, not to say that he is not a elite prospect and great player, but I just think that he is very similar to Mike Gesicki. And not that that's a bad thing, because having two Mike Gesickis would be awesome, but I just still think that we need some more explosiveness from the wide receivers. Now, Kyle Pitts is a great kind of 50-50 ball type player, but for what Tua Tagovailoa does in the sense of his accuracy and his ability to hit players in stride, that's where I think getting a guy like Jalen Waddle just makes sense. I mean, when you go back and see what they did together, all Tua needed to do was hit him on a 5-yard slant and he would take it 70 yards to the house. And again, I think Jalen Waddle is probably the second most slept on prospect in this draft. Number one being uh, Justin Fields here, because I still don't know why he's getting slept on, but I'm definitely hoping that they go Jalen Waddle if he's there at number 6, which we could probably assume that he will be. So let's go with Jalen Waddle here as our first round pick. Now, looking at the draft right now, 16 is definitely a spot I get nervous that Najee Harris is going to go in. Does he go? He does go. Ah, we have a couple trade offers here. The Packers, nothing really excites you there. The Chiefs, again, Finns have the 18th pick. Might as well use it, especially for this mock draft here. Now, not getting Najee Harris to me hurts a lot. I think he is the best running back in this draft class. I think he is a franchise caliber running back. And I'm not the biggest fan of paying running backs the 13, 14, 15 million dollars a year that some are getting nowadays. But I have been persuaded to draft a running back in the first round, if especially at this 18th pick, because you get 4 years of control plus that 5th-year option being that he's a first rounder. And I think Najee Harris is a great enough prospect that he can alter your franchise in a positive way. Similar to that Tua Tagovailoa can. And you look at what the Dolphins run with that RPO offense, that R stands for run. And right now, we don't really have that. Now, I like Gaskin, I like Salvin Ahmed, but they're not Najee Harris. Najee Harris is a game-changing player. And that's what this year is about for the Miami Dolphins, is getting game-changing, explosive players for them. Now, obviously, Travis Etienne is still there, but I'm not in love with him at 18. I am in love with Najee Harris at 18, but he's not there. So I think this is a good situation for them to address another big team need of theirs being edge rusher. And I think Jalen Phillips is a guy who is good enough to warrant being the 18th pick in this draft. So I think keeping him in Miami is something that if he falls into the lap, might as well. But still, definitely a little hurt that the Cardinals snipe Najee Harris 1 pick ahead or 2 picks ahead of them. So now our next pick, I believe, is 36 here. What do we got here? Darius Toney again. That would have been another nice pick. Landon Dickerson going this early. That might. Oh, let's see now. So what trade offers we got? So we have trading back to the 48th. Again, nothing here really. It's not the worst here, but I mean that's too big of a jump. 36 to 55. Picking up a seventh. Who really cares about that? So we've seen Etienne and Javonte Williams fall off the board. Now, from a running back perspective, this I would say is probably a doomsday-esque scenario for the Dolphins because they're not getting one of those big three running backs. Now, I'm not that upset by it because we couldn't get Najee at 18, and I wasn't willing to get a guy like Etienne or Javonte Williams at 18. It just didn't make too much sense for me. I just think Najee Harris is that much better than them. Could I be proven wrong? Without a doubt. Now, seeing that Landon Dickerson fell off the board here. He's a guy that I usually in many previous mock drafts got at that 36 or 50 pick. So the Dolphins desperately need a long-term center for that offensive line. And Matt Screwer, we signed here for a 1-year deal. I don't know if I'm really banking on that. And it's I don't know. It's a tough situation now. Do I want to kind of reach, I guess, for a guy like Creed Humphrey right now? Yeah, a little bit. But when I see a guy like Zaven Collins here, linebacker out of Tulsa, and even a guy like Christian Barmore, too, two guys who I think could definitely be studs on this defense. I feel like this is where the value is too good to pass up. And I think that's it's something that Dolphins haven't been too great at in the past, like prior to Greer kind of being the head honcho there, is that we we more so drafted for need versus value. And I think 36, seeing a guy like Zaven Collins here and seeing what he could do for your Miami Dolphins defense is just awesome. Again, he's a versatile linebacker, can easily fill in for what they hoped Kyle Van Noy was going to do for years to come. So I think putting him in that linebacker room with Benardrick McKinney, Jerome Baker, obviously they re-signed Landon Roberts. I know he's still a little bit banged up. Van Ginkel was more edge rusher kind of guy. I think this would be an awesome pick by Miami Dolphins. Now, obviously, I'm praying Creed Humphrey is still there at 50. Will he be? Let's find out. So far, so good. Couple more. Couple more. Oh, what do we got here? Bang. Perfect scenario right here. This is where, praise the Lord, that we can now get our kind of center for this year and many years in the future. Another guy that kind of catches your eye is Amari Rodgers, wide receiver out of Clemson. Now, this is where Creed Humphrey's too good to pass up, but if Creed Humphrey had gotten taken here prior, I think I definitely would have went with Amari Rodgers here to further bolster that wide receiver room. But let's go with Creed Humphrey, that lefty snapping center from Oklahoma, snapping to lefty throwing to a Tagovailoa for many years to come, hopefully. So now just kind of recapping, we went Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Zaven Collins, and then Creed Humphrey. So we knocked off center, linebacker, edge rusher, wide receiver. Now we still need a running back. Now this is where maybe this late in free agency, if a situation like this happened, do you go pick up a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who they showed interest in previously? So maybe they do that, but we'll see kind of how the board looks here. So a lot of good wide receiver kind of value here at 81. And think then you get a guy like Michael Carter here who kind of again he's running back 4, but I mean he was a phenomenal uh player down there, tandem with Javonte Williams. So let's take a quick look at his little bio right up here. So 5'8", 202. So let's see. So North Carolina running back Michael Carter was a steady presence in the Tar Heels backfield. Final 2 seasons were collected 2,669 yards from scrimmage and 16 touchdowns. Terrific vision, burst, elusiveness, receiving skills, and decision making as a runner that makes him so productive. So this is where I think you say, hey, like Could you go wide receiver? I mean, a guy like Dwayne Eskridge here, I think, is a awesome pick, but I just think he may be a little too similar to Jalen Waddle. And keep in mind, we do still have Albert Wilson, who I'm kind of hoping pans out a little bit to I guess alleviate some of the need there in that wide receiver room. So why not take a feeler on Michael Carter here in the third round for the Dolphins? I know it's not the sexiest of running back picks, but again, who's to say he can't pan out or be better than a Javonte Williams or Travis Etienne? So again, just thinking off the top of my head here, safety I think is a subtle team need. I know they love Eric Rowe and I love him too and Bobby McCain, but just kind of have to just plan for the future a little bit. Who's going to be that guy to partner alongside Brandon Jones there at the safety position? So this is that Eagles pick right there, 123. I'm pretty sure was that the pick that we traded? It might have been. So this is where we're gonna be waiting a little while when we're watching the draft. That in between time here. Let's see. Just looking at the board. Talanoa Hufanga, safety out of USC, is an interesting prospect that if he can come to Miami, I think that would be pretty cool. He's a Rashad Jones-esque kind of player, just very in the box, hard hitting safety. I think that would be an awesome kind of player to add into our defense right now. Here we go. So, all right. So, team needs says tight end, interior defensive line, safety, offensive tackle. Let's just look here, see if there's any kind of names that pop off the table here. I mean, nothing crazy here. Chuba Hubbard, again, we just picked running back. Not a bad little player there. Again, we already went edge rusher Jalen Phillips there prior. And I really think Vince Beagle is going to pay dividends and Andrew Van Ginkel. I know they're not the biggest of names, but I think from a production standpoint, I think we're going to be pretty surprised what they do compared to what guys like Shaq Lawson did. And again, obviously miss Shaq Lawson, but losing Van Noy, I don't know if it's going to hurt us that much because I think Van Ginkel can fill in that role, and I think Beagle can fill in Shaq Lawson's role, and they're playing for pennies on the dollars compared to what we were paying Lawson and Van Noy. And this is where a guy like Daz Newsome kind of jumps off the table at me. So ideal role, starting slot receiver, scheme fit West Coast 11 personnel. So 11 personnel is a one kind of safety look. And I know the Dolphins had a lot of success in 12 personnel, but I'm not totally in love with it when our second tight end is Durham Smythe or Adam Shaheen. I think they fit what they are needed to do from a blocking standpoint very well, especially in the red zone. But again, we need explosive players, and I think that's what Daz Newsome brings to the table, and he can fight for starting spots or fight for roster spots with guys like Lynn Bowden, with guys like Malcolm Perry, and with guys like Albert Wilson. So let's go with Daz Newsome here out of North Carolina. And again, any likes, dislikes to any picks that I have, please leave me a comment or comment on Twitter or comment down below on the YouTube here and just let me know. Again, I'm always down to just converse with any Dolphins fans. I love doing mock drafts, love the Dolphins. I love talking Dolphins. I do it all the time, and it's just nothing I enjoy more. And I love connecting with fans. So my Twitter is at Matt Ferrara, MattFerrara 11. And that's on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow me if you guys want, and just shoot me a tweet. And then again, I'll be down to talk to you guys anytime. And obviously, you'll see me when I post this on Twitter. And let me know what you guys think about my mock draft here. Obviously, once we get into the 6th and 7th rounds, everything's kind of a lottery ticket. I mean, you can even make the argument that rounds 3 to 7 are all just kind of lottery ticket guys, and you hope they pan out. But your bread and butter has to be those first and second rounders have to pan out if you want to be a great NFL team. And that's what the Dolphins have positioned themselves perfectly to have a ton of draft capital and they've made a ton of picks. Now they just need to kind of pan out. So now looking at what we got left here. So Jalen Darden, again, is an absolute explosive receiver out of North Texas, but I think we might be hitting the overkill button on wide receiver a little bit. Again, there's not really a tight end that I see here that I love. Something that I wouldn't mind them doing again in the 7th round. Why not go quarterback? So Felipe Franks, I'm pretty sure was I don't know if he was coached by Flores or if he was coached by Rule at the Senior Bowl, but he was at the Senior Bowl nonetheless. And Brian Flores got to see him a little bit. And then another guy, Ian Book, maybe, but I think with this pick, so it's Felipe Franks, 6'6", 234. Deal roll, number 3, long-term practice squad quarterback. That works with me. Why not? Get a guy who could just kind of be that practice squad quarterback. I know we've had uh like Reed Stinnett or Sinnett for a while there too. Jake Rudock seems to always kind of come back. Let's get some a fresh face down there to be the practice squad quarterback for a couple years now. So we'll go Felipe Franks, quarterback out of Arkansas, to round out our draft here. So finishing up, who's Mr. Irrelevant? Let's see. Let's see the name there. So let's go back and recap our 2021 draft here. So first overall, or 6th overall, first round pick for the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle. Then going Jalen Phillips, edge rusher. Now remember that we lost Najee there at 16. Zaven Collins, 36. Creed Humphrey, interior offensive lineman from Oklahoma. Then Michael Carter, hopefully can be our RB1 with that tandem there with Myles Gaskin. Then Daz Newsome, wide receiver at 156. And then rounding off our draft, Felipe Franks at 231. So again, this team needs an offensive overhaul. Now, again, I really would have loved a running back a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. It's just these kind of two guys just kind of fell into your lap. I didn't want to reach for another wide receiver here at 18, and I didn't want to reach for a running back here at 18 since it wasn't Najee. And I think Zaven Collins is going to be an absolute stud. So anytime you can at least get great players on your team, that's not going to be a bad problem to have. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in. If you have thus far, hopefully we will be doing some more in the future. And then let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you.